Hello and welcome to Destiny 2 New Light. In this guide, we're going to share with you what you need to know when getting started with the game. This is a new player primer, and so we want to just touch on the basics of what makes Destiny New Light worth it and what you need to know when creating your character and diving into this game. Like I said, we're going to do more in-depth guides on the different systems, Armor 2.0, and more in the coming weeks. So keep an eye out for that. If you like that, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Check out our playlists below. We cover a lot of different games, so just a little warning, we do a lot of MMORPGs. And that's literally the first thing you need to know about Destiny 2 New Light. Destiny is an action MMO. This has been redefined from how it's been in the past, and usually it's often confused and identified as a looter shooter. And while you can feel free to call it that, MMO can be kind of a nervous term. It can be kind of like, what does this really mean? Are they going to require a subscription? And no, that's not required at all. In fact, New Light is completely free to download and play and try out and explore and experience a lot of what makes the game very unique and special. And that's why I have to say it's absolutely worth it, because there is no risk. But it does use an expansion and season pass model. That means at times you can choose to buy into more content as well as buy into the season pass. Like in other battle passes and things like that you might see in Fortnite, there is a free model and there is a premier model. Now, if you do jump into Shadowkeep, which is the latest expansion, you will get the Season of the Undying for free. But keep in mind, this is an experimental season. They're going to be making adjustments and changes to it, and they're going to be listening to our feedback. Never before in the history of Destiny has our feedback been more understood and heard and responded to, and that's why I think it is well worth checking out, especially if you've been burned in the past. You can always be skeptical, and you can always wait for full reviews to come out, and that's perfectly fine to do so. Now, if you're completely new to the Destiny experience, here's what you need to know when diving into this game. 1, be sure you like how your character looks. Currently, after 5 years, there is still no way to really edit your character's appearance. Now, gear is going to be hugely important. You're going to have that on you at all times, and that's going to how you play with your look and feel. So you have full ability to customize how your character looks by what they wear, but if you don't like how your character face looks, you're going to be seeing it for a long time. Now, you can play whatever class you prefer. I recommend checking them all out at some point in the time. But the 3 classes are Hunter, Titan, and Warlock. They can use all the weapons in the game, but they do have unique armor perks. But what makes them different? What makes them unique? What makes them a class? Well, that's all based off of their actions, that's all based off of their jump style, and that's all based off of their utility. Now, if you're coming from Call of Duty and that kind of background, perhaps a Hunter is going to feel right at home for you. Their jump is considered the most normal as it feels with their playstyle, so check out a Hunter if you're really into the Call of Duty scene. Now, if you're coming more from a Halo Master Chief area, maybe a Titan is going to feel closer to home for you. What this means is they have kind of more of a rocket jump, but if you love to smash things with your fist, a Titan is really going to feel right at home for you. And then Warlocks are more your magey, kind of floaty, big hitting, kind of run and gun type of job. But when I say their jumps feel floaty, I really mean it. So kind of play around with it, see what works for you. I've recommended Warlocks in the past to players, and they've never really kind of connected with it. And when they've gone and played a Titan or a Hunter, they felt closer to home because that was more, I guess, based off of their shooter roots. This is a shooter game, so stats are going to be there. You can use stats to kind of impact your grenades, your abilities, and more. But it's still about accuracy. So aiming your weapons at the enemies is going to be a skill that you're going to need to really require to enjoy this game. But they have a lot of pinnacle activities for you to do. But also, depending on the player that you are, you might want to wait before jumping into PvP. Now, I love PvP, I love the PvP in this game, but if you're coming in and you haven't been playing it, chances are there's going to be a lot of people to play with. You might want to get a good feel for what class you kind of have a feel for. I'd hate for you to get discouraged. So if you find yourself struggling in PvP, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing as best as you can. There are custom games, so if you end up having some friends, be sure to jump into custom games, kind of get a feel for the map, get a feel for the weapons. Now, when it comes down to building out your character, the last thing I really kind of want to share upon you is that you get perks from your gear and your weapons, and that's how you customize what kind of role you want to play. With Armor 2.0, which we'll dive more into detail in another guide, you're going to be able to kind of customize how many grenades or how often your grenade is recharged and more. You have stats that you can control and you can see. This is the RPG side of it. So there is a PvP game and a PvE game and a PvP PvE game, which is essentially Gambit, which is something you might want to check out. It's a lot of fun. So, New Light. I would really encourage you guys to give it an opportunity to check it out to see if it's right for you. The price point is the right price point, it's free. And that's because there's going to be things that the game's going to want to sell you later. That doesn't mean it's going to be fair. We don't know ultimately how it's going to be received, but this is Bungie's show. The reason why we're seeing all these changes, the reason why it's now an action MMO, is they're no longer partnered with Activision, and honestly, I think that's all for the better. But that means it's their game to lose, but they have the right mindset. This is their game, and it's free to start, so give it a shot and let me know what you think. Again, this has been Brian for Work to Game. We're going to be diving into a lot of Destiny New Light, Shadowkeep, and more, so keep an eye out for that on the channel. We really hope that you stick around with us, and we're going to have a lot of fun talking about Destiny. It feels really good to be back in this game, and it feels really good to kind of start off with a whole new chapter as we head back to the moon and more. So, Moon's haunted. Peace and love, guys. I will see you in my next video.